All right, let's get first comments on what this means from KC त्यागी. त्यागी जी, इस रेजिग्नेशन का क्या मतलब है? नीतीश जी रिजाइन कर रहे हैं लेकिन असेंबली का डिसोल्यूशन नहीं रेकमेंड कर रहे.
बरखा मुझको 1984 का श्री रामकृष्ण हेगड़े जी का मेरे पास पत्र है. जब वहां लोकसभा के चुनाव हुए थे तो श्री रामकृष्ण हेगड़े की पार्टी को 4 सीटें मिली और बाकी 24 सीटें मिली कांग्रेस पार्टी को इंदिरा जी की हत्या के बाद. इसी तरह से मॉरल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेते हुए उन्होंने भी त्यागपत्र दिया और उसके बाद जब चुनाव हुए तो उन्हें 2/3 का बहुमत मिला. अब पहले दिन से ही विरोधी पार्टियां ये मान के चलती थी कि नीतीश कुमार जी ने जनता का विश्वास खो दिया है. तो मॉरल स्टैंडर्ड्स को कायम करने के लिए उन्होंने जाकर के अपना इस्तीफा महामहिम को दे दिया है. विधानसभा भंग की सिफारिश नहीं की है. सुशील मोदी पिछले एक सप्ताह से दावा कर रहे हैं कि उनके पास 50 विधायक हैं जनता दल यूके. तो एक विकल्प उनके पास भी है कि सुशील मोदी जी क्लेम करें और वो भी
पर आप एक तरह से कह रहे हैं, आप एक तरह से बीजेपी को चैलेंज कर रहे हैं कि आप सरकार बनाएं, लेकिन आप फ्रेश इलेक्शंस क्यों नहीं चाहते? श्योरली द करेक्ट थिंग टू डू वुड बी टू कॉल अ फ्रेश इलेक्शन. त्यागी जी,
ऐसा है कि ये बात भी आपकी सही है, फ्रेश इलेक्शन भी एक रास्ता है, लेकिन सुशील मोदी जी को भी आप फोन लाइन पे ले लीजिए कि वो भी बताएं ना. दिन भर झूठ बोलने के अलावा, डिस इन्फॉर्मेशन कैंपेन के अलावा, कैरेक्टर एसेसिनेशन के अलावा कोई दूसरा काम भी बचा है? हम तो रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑन कर रहे हैं ऑन द मॉरल ग्राउंड और हमारे नेता ने इस्तीफा दे दिया.
माना जाता है कि क्योंकि माना जाता है त्यागी जी की म्यूटनी होने वाली है जेडीयू के अंदर. नरेंद्र सिंह बैठे हैं 40 एमएलए को लेकर. उस म्यूटनी को कंटेन करने के लिए नीतीश जी ने इस्तीफा दिया है.
मैं आपसे कहा ना कि उनको 40 को लेकर के विधायकों को सुशील मोदी जी अपने 90 को लेकर के 130 बना करके अपने घोषणा करें. ये तो उनको मौका मिला ना. या दिन भर आप झूठ चलाएंगे, दिन भर आप अफवाहें फैलाएंगे? आखिर बयान देने की भी कोई गरिमा, कोई सीमा होगी. यही श्री सुशील मोदी अब से 1 साल पहले का वक्तव्य इनका मेरे पास है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी की तरह से श्री नीतीश कुमार जी भी पीएम मटेरियल है. हम राजनीति में होते हैं, अलग भी होते हैं, तो एक मर्यादा रखते हैं.
All right, let me get reactions to that from Randeep Surjewala of the Congress. We also have Gurcharan joining us. We're waiting for Piyush Goyal to join the panel as well. But Randeep, just on the Bihar question, the fact is that Nitish Kumar has resigned, taking moral responsibility for the drubbing. Will Congress chief ministers follow and do the same?
Bihar is a situation, Barkha, that we have to see in light of what the last no confidence motion was. And the last no confidence motion, it is the Congress that supported Shri Nitish Kumar based on certain fundamental secular principles. Yes, it's a fact, as my senior colleague from JDU is saying, that Bharatiya Janata Party has poached and is causing defections of legislators in an elected government. It is now for their wisdom to decide whether defections and a new Ayaram Gayaram syndrome that Bharatiya Janata Party and Mr. Sushil Modi is seeking to create by disrupting an elected government, is it valid, constitutional, moral and ethical?
Okay.
The question that you asked, the chief ministers of Congress ruled states, I only want to say that we have clear majority in Haryana and Maharashtra that you were just discussing with Shri Digvijay Singh ji. And our chief ministers and our governments have been repeatedly re-elected based on the stellar work that we have done. We are ready to go back to people when the tenures of the government gets completed and seek a fresh mandate.
Do I understand that Mr. Chauhan then will not be resigning?
Well, it's a fact that we have got a drubbing in Maharashtra as also in many other states, including in my own state.
Yes.
After all, that is the beauty of the Indian democracy. Okay. My best wishes to the National Democratic Alliance, to BJP and Mr. Modi. we will go back to the people. State elections and national elections have their own permutation, combinations, issues, prerogatives and priorities.
Okay.
We are certain that we will be able to go back to people based on the work that we have done and return with a fresh mandate.
All right. At this point, I'm going to turn our focus from Bihar to looking ahead at what the priorities of the next government are going to be. KC Tyagi, thanks so much for joining us. We'll keep an eye on that story in Bihar tomorrow. But staying with the big national picture, Piyush Goyal, senior leader of the BJP, is now with us. Gurcharan Das is in the studio. And Randeep Surjewala, of course, of the Congress party is with us. Piyush, in this segment, we want to focus on what next. And you've already set the cat among the pigeons by talking about FDI in multi-brand retail. What is going to happen? Let me start straight off the bat by asking you, is that a decision that's going to be reversed? It's very interesting because this is a verdict that is centered around development, it's centered around Vikas, people have economic dreams. Does it militate against that for you all to scrap this decision of the outgoing government?
Barka, at the outset, let me just clarify that I have been ready here since 9 o'clock, which was the originally scheduled time. And I have time only till 9:40 because there's another channel after this.
My apologies.
You decided to change the timing. So I have only about 7-8 minutes with you because you chose to do many other things in between. And you had some technical problems. So whatever you want to ask, you have 7-8 minutes. As regards the question on FDI and multi-brand retail, I think my party stand has been most unambiguous. We have categorically stated that we oppose multi-brand retail FDI. We stand by our commitment to the people of India who have voted us in such large numbers. I think one of the principal issues was the failure of the Congress to recognize the damage this was doing to the Indian manufacturing sector and the small retail sector. I have also on record said that the BJP does not believe in any retrospective amendment.
Okay.
But it is the prerogative of any government to look at prospective amendments to law. Fortunately, there has been no investment in the FDI and multi-brand retail sectors so far. So there is going to be no conflict should the government choose to reverse this decision.
Okay, before I get Gurcharan to respond to that, Piyush, and my apologies for keeping you waiting, I want to ask you, what will be the economic philosophy of the NDA that will be different from the economic philosophy of the outgoing UPA? I think that's really crucial to know.
Sure. I think we are coming into government with 4 or 5 guiding principles on which this government will run. The first and foremost, Mr. Modi has enunciated many times, is minimum government, maximum governance. We do believe the government has to get out of people's lives. The people do not want to be micromanaged. The people want to be empowered rather than to face roadblocks, whether in their day-to-day life, whether in their entrepreneurial life, their professional life, their business life, schools, colleges, hospitals. I think people are looking for empowerment and are wanting to get out of the entitlement-based politics that the Congress has foisted on India. The second major principle of the government will be outcomes rather than outlays. I think we are tired of hearing large outlays. We heard that 20,000 crores was spent on the Ganga, on cleaning the Ganga, and they've been touting that as one of their prime projects. I wonder where all that money went. I was in Varanasi all of last week.
Yes.
And it's pitiable, the state of affairs. The Ganga has not seen 1 rupee out of that 20,000. And I think thanks to the Congress, राम की गंगा भी मैली हो गई और जो मैली गंगा इन्होंने छोड़ी है उसको आज साफ करने का प्रतिज्ञा मोदी जी ने ली है.
All right.
But thirdly,
yes,
we believe one more important principle. We believe India has to look at speed, skill and scale. It's very important. India plans big. India plans for 50 years. India plans jobs for 2 crore youth coming into the working age every year.
Okay.
India plans for skill development of 2 crore people every year. And speed is going to be the essence, which he has very, very good track record in Gujarat of implementing his projects in.
Okay, may I just get Gurcharan to come in and then I'll take it to Randeep. Gurcharan, you said on this very program that the reason you decided to back Mr. Modi in this campaign is not because of Hindu nationalism. You said, in fact, that part concerns you, that part doesn't appeal to you. When you hear Mr. Goyal right now spelling out their position on FDI in retail, are you reassured, are you concerned?
Well, I think that the rest of what he said was fine.
Yes.
They're making a mistake on this one.
Why do you say
because that? If they believe in Vikas and they believe in a modern economy, then the retail sector is one of the largest sectors which creates employment. In fact, after construction, retail is the largest employer in the United States. So I do believe that already Tesco has come in and it's finding its feet in Maharashtra and other states. Yeah. And what they should do is they've very sensibly left it to the states.
Yes.
To go ahead. And frankly, there are a few niggles in the law which is preventing companies like Walmart and Carrefour and others.
So what would you say to Mr. Goyal this evening?
Well, I would say to him that, look, don't make a mistake. Of course, it's not the biggest deal. They can do a hell of a lot of good without doing this. They can wait on this one. But I would say that the experience around the world shows that it helps farmers with their produce. They get a higher price when they sell directly, especially if they will scrap.
So you're saying that this could be a mistake. This could be a first mistake. I must get Piyush Goyal to respond to that, and then Randeep to come in on the issue of entitlements.
And lower prices.
Okay, Piyush, please go ahead, and then Randeep. Piyush.
Yeah, Barka, I very much respect Gurcharan Dasji. He's a very scholarly intellectual, but I would like to join issue with him on his understanding of multi-brand retail. I think retail certainly is a very large employer, but that's what we want to protect. We do not want to kill jobs in Indian manufacturing. India still does not have manufacturing to scale. India still doesn't have enough capacity where we can supply to the Walmarts and Tesco's of the world the kind of quantity and quality that they desire. Which is why you find all the multi-brand retail stores demanding that even the 30% minimum local indigenized product procurement should be scrapped. Now this government has bent itself not only on its knees but probably gone flat. साष्टांग नमस्कार कर दिया इन्होंने foreign companies के सामने और पैसा कितना आया 500 million, $1 billion. I think just the mere name of Mr. Modi has attracted $10 billion into India. The fact that a decisive, honest leadership is coming is more important than multi-brand retail, which will not only kill millions of jobs, and not only kill jobs in manufacturing and small retail, but will reduce India to a country of sales boys and sales girls.
Okay, very strong words.
Secondly, Mr. Gurcharan Das is mistaken. Maharashtra and Haryana did allow some FDI to come in, but nothing is operationalized on the ground as yet. And you saw what has happened. In Maharashtra, the government won 1 seat.
Yeah.
Congress won 1 other seat, Adarsh Chavan. 1 seat they won. And in Haryana, they won 1 seat.
Okay. Okay, that's a fair.
Other than that, they've been defeated summarily. Their own partner in Maharashtra, NCP, realized how disastrous and how foolish and foolhardy this policy is, and they opposed it on the floor of the Rajya Sabha while I was listening to their ministers.
Okay. I must allow Randeep to come in on this. Randeep, a very interesting argument being made by Piyush Goyal at this point actually mirrors in some ways the debate on economics in for example, the United States of America. When Mr. Goyal talks about, getting government out of sectors, get the government out of sectors, too much government. Is that a critical error that the Congress made?
First of all, Barkha, I can understand Mr. Goyal's enthusiasm as also his boisterousness. Congratulations to you, sir. You people of India have given you a clear mandate, and I am sure you deserve all the enthusiasm you have. Mr. Goyal forgets, Barkha, that there is no law passed for FDI in retail, so he doesn't have to undo any law. It's an administrative decision that got the clearance from Parliament, where states have their own perspective, and that freedom has been given to states.
Okay.
Number two, Mr. Goyal forgets that 28%, I can tell him as a farmer, of all food grains, particularly fruits and vegetables in this country, never reach from farm to plate on account of capacities of storage and others, which FDI and retail would have helped solve in many ways. Number three, we are very conscious, we were very conscious when we permitted that policy, and that's why restricted FDI in retail, multi-brand retail, only to cities of 1 million and above.
Okay.
Mr. Goyal should know, and I am sure he knows because he is very eloquent and knowledgeable, how many cities are there in India which are above 1 million. There are very few. There are, I think, anything between 70 to 80 cities. So it would have attracted a whole lot of investment. But I know that they want to
I must let Mr. Goyal respond. I must let Mr. Goyal respond, and then you go through
and this, which is all right, which is Mr. Goyal's party decision.
Okay, Piyush, please, go ahead.
Barka, first of all, thank you, Randeep ji, for your wishes. But let me tell you, I'm not boisterous today. This is how I usually am.
That's true. He's always like this. That I can confirm also.
Yeah. So I would at least request you, there is nothing that it's about the victory or defeat. I genuinely believe that multi-brand retail FDI is harmful for the country. It was one of the principal issues in this election, debated ad nauseum. We have had a very consistent stand. And I can assure you that going by this verdict, I suspect no state is going to allow FDI in multi-brand retail. Probably even your own chief ministers won't allow it in their states. Any case, even in those 70 cities that you are mentioning, I had studied the number, I don't remember. More than half of them were in opposition rule states which had opposed it. For your information, every opposition party on the floor of the House opposed it, but by sleight of hand, and I don't know whether you used CBI or whatever, you managed to get a majority to approve it. Some people walked out, some people strategically didn't attend Parliament and whatnot. The fact of life is this policy is not good. It's not in national interest.
Piyush, before you go, Gurcharan has one question for you. Mr. Goyal, before you go, Gurcharan Das has one last question for you. Very briefly, Gurcharan.
You know, today, there are two issues facing the economy. One is growth and the other is inflation. If you believe that inflation is something you have to tackle, then it is consistent with your thinking that you should allow all possible forces, supply side forces that will help us tackle inflation. And the FDI in retail is one factor. For example, if you go and buy tomatoes in the market and you buy them for 20 rupees a kilo, the reason and the farmer gets 5 rupees a kilo. Now, if you allow multi-brand retail FDI, what happens is that they buy directly. Right now, the reason of this gap from 5, can I finish, please? Piyush, let me finish.
Okay, he has to go, so just quickly finish your point.
So my point, but let me finish. The point here is the reason why you pay that big gap between 5 rupees and 20 rupees is the artiyas and the huge chain of people in the way. When a supermarket buys from the farmer and sells to the consumer,
let him respond because he has to go.
You
can complete your point after he responds. Yeah, okay, Piyush Goyal, please.
If I feel that we are not concerned about inflation.
This is a very old argument. This is a very old argument. I also understand inflation. I'm much younger. Mr. Gurcharan Das is a very senior person. But I suspect there are many things which have changed in the world, including how marketing of food products is done. We have in fact a reverse situation even in the Western world, where you have small retailers again coming into the fore. In any case, these large multi-brand chains do not give farmer any great value. He may not like the artiyas. Nobody certainly holds a brief for them. But the fact is, multi-brand companies, these large chains, do not pay any great value. They squeeze the
Piyush, before you go, I know a lot of people want to know. What you will do with. Before you go, what will you do with retrospective tax? That's going to be a big decision to take.
I think we should leave that to the new finance minister.
All right, Piyush Goyal, thanks so much. Sorry for delaying you. Gurcharan, you can have your say. Yeah.
Piyush, just why are 40 countries, third world countries, clamoring for FDI in retail? Yeah. Why is India the only one? Do we have some great wisdom that we have acquired? What multi-brand retail does is that it gives you the possibility of lower prices for the consumer and higher prices for the farmer.
Okay, now I want last comments from you and Randeep Surjewala. This notion of how much government is too much government.
Well, I think the major change.
Yeah. What are we going to see change?
Yeah, the change here is from a left of center economics to a right of center.
Did you think Manmohan Singh was left of center?
Well, but Sonia Gandhi was left of center and she trumped him every time. The reformers in the last government tried, but they were constantly throttled by things like the left in the first UPA 1 and the NAC. Therefore, actually Modi should first of all rubbish this false trade-off that the UPA did between growth and equity. That you need growth and that brings equity. And so I think that's the big shift we think. It's not what these bleating liberal secularists have been saying, which is India has lurched to the right in some kind of cultural sense. India has gone to what every country
You're saying
in
we
the
move
world
right
does.
of center economically.
That's right.
Randeep, do you accept the description of the outgoing government and of the Congress is instinctively left of center? And we're not talking about socially. We're not talking about social conservatism, but new age economics.
Barka, I will just like to bring three facets to the notice of my senior colleague and your viewers. We put our government at stake in 2009 on what? On nuclear deal, infusion of technology. It was not on some social issues or various social dimensions. $2.7 billion per year was the FDI inflow when NDA was in power, that my senior colleague mentions as right of the center. $22 billion per year was the inflow of FDI during Congress rule. We just spoke about FDI in retail, FDI in multi-brand
so you don't think you were left
retail,
of center?
brand
You
retail.
don't think the NAC...
Is that socialist or is that opening up of economy?
No, was there a contradiction, Randeep, in the
Yeah,
National
I'm
Advisory
going to come
Council
to that
and
in
the Prime
a moment.
Minister's
I was
office?
just giving 2 or 3 examples.
Yeah. The NAC, the shadow cabinet, as it is sometimes called.
After all, we don't live in a laissez-faire state.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I interrupted. I said we don't live in a laissez-faire state. There is a large populace of this country which needs hand-holding, and it is the responsibility of the state to not leave them in the lurch and to walk alongside them till they are empowered enough to be able to sustain on their own. Okay. There are areas, I'm sure my colleague and you would agree and your viewers would, areas like education, areas like health, areas like housing, where areas like power, which is largely state run even in a country like ours today, areas like village roads, area like rural electrifications, area like drinking water and sanitation, these are areas where state intervention would always be required.
Okay,
so less government is fine, but no government, less government should not become no government.
May I give the last word to Gurcharan Das? The Piketty argument being applied to India, capitalism being questioned all across the world. Do we really want it without any checks and balances? Let's reverse the question.
I don't think anybody is suggesting that. I think what we are suggesting is the fact when the UPA made this false trade-off, I don't think they meant it. The reformers still wanted.
You're saying it was an ideological contradiction within.
No, what happened was that in the process, they took their eyes off the ball of growth. You see, in their enthusiasm, in this word, this seductive word, inclusive growth, it gave different signals to the ministries and the bureaucrats.
Okay.
And that's why the system got gummed up.
Okay, one line, what are you looking for from Narendra Modi?
Well, I think we now want to kickstart growth, we want to control inflation, we want to implement all these projects that are stuck, we want a bonfire of some of the useless laws that are there, you know. I mean, there's a whole lot of them. And we really need a good supply side response to inflation, which has not come. And Rajan, you know, is doing a terrific job. So I hope they keep him.
And don't ask him to go. I'm sorry.
And I think I completely agree with you that scrapping this retrospective tax has done so much damage to the image of India. That, you know, Chidambaram has his reputation. We thought it was Pranab Mukherjee who was the problem. But after Chidambaram reassures investors, he comes back and he again starts fighting and spoils our image. So it's very, very hard. I think the best thing, frankly, that they are going to do is Modi's idea of bringing the chief ministers of state into the
larger decision-making process. All right, Gurcharan Das, Randeep Surjewala, thanks for joining us. We're taking a quick break. In a few minutes from now, Uma Bharti is joining us live.